Hello everybody, this is Mr. Dykema. I am doing an update on pipes in perspective. My old video was missing a couple of things that we do new, so I'll show you how to do that. Try to take it a little slower so you can follow along if you want. I do have a ruler, and I have this little piece of paper that we use for doing some different type of measuring. So we'll get started. So you can start anywhere you want on your paper, or you can just follow along with me. So we're going to start by coming in on an angle with a large pipe coming in. So I'm going to go a little bit further. Very important that you're drawing light. If you notice, I hold my pencil higher on the pencil, or I hold my hand higher on the pencil so we can draw lighter. And you could also use a harder pencil if you want, but it's important to draw light for the first portion of this. So I'm going to go ahead, and as you notice, I am starting out fatter and I'm getting smaller. So as things get further away, they appear smaller, so that's why we're doing this. You got to be careful not to go too fast, otherwise it looks more like a triangular shape than a pipe going into the distance. All right, so what I'm going to do is make a 90-degree turn here. So I'll go just about like line up my ruler here. I'll move up a little bit more, and I'm just going to draw. I might draw on a little bit of an angle. Draw lightly down. Now, what I need to do here is right here. We need to take this board, this little cardboard piece, or any piece of paper. It really doesn't matter. You can even use a ruler if you're good at using that. I'm just going to make a mark right here, okay? So I'm going to take this measurement here, and I'm going to twist it around and put it to, let's see here, about here. All right, so, and this just kind of helps me out. This is not exactly the mathematical way of doing it. This is just a way to make sure that it's not too small or too big. So that's about, this measurement here is the same as this here. Then you continue on going into the background with your ruler. So I'm going to pinch it slightly again and lightly draw a line down. So as you can see, we have our first pipe coming in. It's getting smaller gradually. I'm going to go ahead, and I like to erase these right away, otherwise they just cause confusion later on. All right, and if you have a brush to brush off the eraser marks, that's going to help. I don't have one with me, it's at my other school. So I'm using my hand, which is a bad idea. You're going to get a bunch of marks eventually. So definitely get a brush, and just a big paintbrush will work just fine. All right, so now you have some options here. We want to continue to go smaller, so you could go this way, you could go that way. It's up to you. I'm just kind of looking at what I have here, so I'll probably go, I guess I'll go to the right. So I'm going to just take this ruler and go right to here. I'm going to go a little bit further. All right, so I have to take this measurement now. So I get my paper again and put a mark there. Put a mark here. Okay, so we take that measurement and put it to here. You could probably go in. Let's see what happened if I went in. Maybe it's better to go in. Basically what I'm looking at is this shape here. Is this shape going to be more square or not? To me, I think going, instead of down, going up was better here. So as long as this kind of looks squarish, and then you're on the right track. Otherwise, it's going to look like, let's just say that this is a 2-inch pipe. All of a sudden, it's a 1-inch. And this is supposed to be the same size pipe throughout the paper. It's just that you have pipes coming closer and further away. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to keep it going here. I could make a T here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Not yet. get that out of there. All right, so I'm going to take this measurement here, and I decided I'm going to go up instead of down with this measurement. See if that works. All right, should have put that up here. Sorry, kids. All right, so this measurement here to here, then I go ahead and take my ruler, and I'm going to shrink it down. Now be careful, if you're going too small too fast, it's going to, we've had some students have this come right to a point. So this is pretty small right here, and I did extend this out, and I said I wasn't going to make a T, but nah, I kind of like it. I'm going to keep it there. Why not? Okay, so I'll just redraw it in so it's not as sloppy as that. All right, so I'm going to move on, and at this point I'm going to go maybe with a 45. I'm going to keep this the same size. You don't have to keep going smaller and smaller or go to big again. So I'm going to do that little measurement again. All right, and trying to make it look like that same size. I did go in a little bit because I think my ruler my measurement wasn't accurate. So I'm going to keep that small. And I would continue this, but I'm afraid that it's just going to disappear into a point, and we don't want that. All right, so I'm going to go here. I will have another one tee off right here. And again, you just take this measurement here, and you twist it, use it again here. And sometimes when it's this small, I just eyeball it because I can kind of tell. I might start to get a little bigger on this one coming up. Okay. I'm going to go do a 90 here again. And if you're not good at eyeballing this to be a square, then you should measure it out. So I'm going to keep it small again there. It does appear to get a little bigger here, which is okay. So I have some good small ones right here. I'm going to do another 90 here, and I'm going to begin to widen it out again so it's protruding back to the original size eventually. So I'm going to take that measurement, I'm going to move that measurement over to here. Really doesn't matter because this is just, these two lines are parallel because of the same size. So most of the time our lines are not parallel because they are protruding back into the background. Okay, and yes, these are looking odd because we didn't round them off, and I understand that. So I'm going to go ahead, and it looks like that's more of a rectangle than I wanted to, so I'm going to move it in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to start to come back a little bit here, and let's see, what can we do to make this a little different? How about, what would happen if we did a 45 here? This is a tricky one because here, you don't want to measure from here to here, you just kind of want to measure straight down. So I'm going to try that, and then I'm going to come over to here. Let's see if that works. All right, it's a little big, so I'm going to go in a little bit more, and I'm going to start to come right up like this. All right, so this one's leaving the page, and that's okay. All right, so this could happen to you where things are getting tight. Let's not worry about continuing this pipe to come back and forth. So what I could do here is I could do another T here and have this one start to come up a little higher. So this is supposed to be parallel, it's the same size, so it doesn't get smaller or bigger. So if I just make a squared out section here, that square, and then I'm going to go underneath, because remember that pipe is bigger, it's not bigger, it's actually closer. So I'm going to go ahead and extend this out here. So now that's getting bigger, and I could come out a little bit here. And then I could do a 90. Do a 90 here maybe. Maybe I'll do a 90 this way. Now we want to measure again. Might start to see a lot of these dots all over. I'm going to go back to here. You can always erase those dots so you don't get confused. And I'm going to go bigger here. All right, maybe I'll continue this one to go bigger too. All right, and this one will be underneath here and come out over here. You can just have it go straight out. So I take a look at this and looking for some composition. Looks like we have this big thing going through here. Maybe we need something else big coming in. We're going to think about that for a moment, and I would say it looks okay right now. Let's stick with that. So let's move on to the next level, and that's rounding off the corners. So I'm going to round off this corner here. I'm going to round off this corner here, okay? And then we do those fittings. So I'm going to get rid of this. I think it's good to get rid of those lines right away, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and make that fitting. So I like to make my guidelines here. You don't want to come too close to this. You don't want to be way far away. So this is just my guideline to help me make my contour lines that work well with the pipe to create that illusion of a pipe fitting. So this one, this is far away, but this one will be closer because this is it's getting smaller because it's getting further away from us. So I'm going to go to here, okay? All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on this one, and you could do it the arch this way, or you can arch the other way. I guess I'll arch the other way. So I'm going to take this, and if you notice, I'm going to start out a little bit outside of this, and I'm going to just kind of curve it here, come over to here, and kind of curve it there, okay? And then I am going to draw that line right here, okay? Oh, sorry. Let's go back right here. This one is on the inside. That one goes a little bit on the outside. Then erase this line to avoid confusion. Okay. Now I'm going to come over to here. Very close. So it's like an 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch. All right, then you're going to come down here. Now if you look right at the bottom here, just below this, you just curve that in. Okay. Now it's hard. This one's a little thicker than this one. Don't worry about it. You do your best. Now, if this one's a 1/2 inch and this one's a 1/16 of an inch, then obviously you need to make some. So the same piece of paper that you have, you can make this into an eraser template. We want to erase this, but we don't want to erase it and erase other pieces. So you can take this and make your own, basically your own eraser template. So as you go, you'll find that you want different thicknesses and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut. I want to do a better job of cutting than this. Let's see, here we go. Now that one's squared off. You can actually round them off a little bit too. It doesn't matter. But what this does is now I can go in and I just want to erase, everything right here. So I'm going to take my eraser template and go in there. Now I know I don't want to erase this. Okay, so that there's got to stay, but I want to erase all of this. So I'm going to go in there and try to remember where that line has to stop being erased. All right. And then I can go in there and you can really press down as hard as you want here because you're not going to erase anything else. Got to be careful kind of at that bottom there, but you see how nice that erased that. And you also will know that if you drew light enough, because if it's hard to erase it, you probably do too dark. Now, this is a good eraser to use. You have some sharpness to it. I could probably get away with just doing this on this one, but once you get smaller, you're definitely going to want to use that. So if these edges look kind of square, just kind of round them off a little bit. All right, this one could be rounded off. So now you have that illusion that this is a pipe fitting. Now we're not quite done because we have to do this side. So kind of looking at this, looks like it's a little off as far as being crooked. So I just kind of arrange it and kind of having this, I'm going to have this kind of come straight towards me, and then I'm just going to try to move this down so it looks a little bit more perpendicular to that. All right, so you can see I drew too dark. Erase that. All right, here we go. Same steps. All right, bottom. So now once you curve this way, you don't want to curve facing that way. So if you take that curve and you just kind of go around, you'll see, okay, that's where my top has to be, just like this. Now everything's getting a little smaller. Okay. Now this one here, you don't go outside of the line, you just go here. All right. So this one kind of curves a little bit out here. Before I do anything, let's get rid of these lines that are just going to confuse us later on. And so I'm going to go ahead and go into here and then lightly draw that line down. Same thing over here. Lightly draw that line down. And this is where it can get confusing because you still want this line. Now it looks like I went over here a little bit. Okay, let's see here. Let's line this up. All right, that looks good. Now this is going to curve in. Same thing over here. It curves in. But we still need that line there. Okay. Now I can get away with doing this kind of erasing because it's kind of big yet, so we're fine. But you see how these things are hard to erase? So I'm going to go in and make a real slim piece here. Just a little guy here. Best I can do. Let's see if I can erase some of those little spaces here with my eraser templates. So I'm going to go ahead and put it just on that spot where I need it erased. And I can erase it. All right, there's some other spaces here. And you can really press down hard because you're not going to, you're protected from erasing the other things. So you can erase, brush it off. Looks a little better. Maybe I'll put this one sideways here to kind of get rid of this one. All right, precision here, kids, precision. It's just going to help it look a little better. So sometimes, if you can see here, there's like this little line here. Now, probably when you shade that, it's going to go away. All right. Now here, it's kind of the sharp corner. I don't know if you can see that, but if you can round it off a little bit here, and this up here too, you just round those off. It's just going to create more realism. And I'm going to go back here too, because this is a sharp curve from here to here, and it really doesn't need to be. It needs to be more rounded. All right. Okay. So that's how you do pipes in perspective. You'll continue to work these all the way through, but just remember, if you do this here, you're going to have to do another one, you know, right here. So this is tough because there's one right here that's close. So what I would do is, well, I guess you're going to have to make another one. If they're super close, you can just use one for both of them. So this one's going to be another one. Here, same process. Keep a steady hand. Don't drink any coffee or caffeine drinks or anything like that. Make you shake. Get rid of this line down here. So I'm going to curve right here again. Now this is supposed to get thinner, so you're really supposed to be getting pretty thin. If you notice here, I came right around and it just came down and it came right around again. All right, finding a little more shortcuts. I'm going to erase this. Now if you look here, I try to do a shortcut, but it's a little goofy here, so I'm going to round that off. use your ruler. Now you got those little lines. I'm definitely going to have to use eraser template on some of this. I can just use this. So nice, that gets rid of that. Come back down here. Put that sideways. You can even buy eraser templates, which are really cool. They're made out of metal. Hobby Lobby will have it probably, so go there. All right, there you go. Then you just continue going. Again, you're gonna round this off, and you should be good. Let me know if you have any questions. There's always different challenges people run into, and we'll figure it out. So good luck, and the next video is on shading, and we'll see you then.